What's up, guys? I want to thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We have hundreds of weekly listeners, and I want to make sure that everyone listening is hyper aware of how I can serve them best. So if you're interested in hiring me as your life coach or hiring me as your nutritionist, or maybe you just want to get some free advice, head over to lifecoachzach.com, book a free 30-minute consultation, serious inquiries only, and I would love to ask you serious, open-ended, powerful questions that are going to help you pivot your life in a better direction. Let's co-create an action plan and really step in to the greatest version of ourselves. Here's the podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Life Coach Zach podcast. Today, I got a very special guest in the house, Vanessa Loder. She is a writer, women's career leadership expert, TEDx speaker, and an energetic spark plug committed to helping women expand what's possible for their lives. She also has a book coming out pretty soon, October 4th, The Soul Solution. So look out for it. Vanessa, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Zach. It's good to be here.
Awesome. It is a pleasure having you on the podcast today. There's a lot of things that we have in common. But before we dive into all the good stuff, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, a little bit about me. I have been an overachiever my entire life. I'm a recovering perfectionist, graduated from an Ivy League school, top of my class while playing Division I varsity soccer because, it wasn't good to be smart or athletic. I had to do both. And when I graduated, I went on to take a very intense job doing investment banking on Wall Street at Morgan Stanley. And I would work these, just 100+ hour weeks around the clock. And when I did get out of work, I would feel so stressed out. I would either go drink a little too much alcohol with my friends or zone out in front of really bad television. Those were basically my two methods for dealing with stress for many years. I went on to work in private equity doing these billion-dollar leverage buyouts, went to Stanford, got my MBA. And I basically reached this point in my career where on paper, everything looked great. I was on track to be a partner at this big investment firm, making plenty of money, dating this wonderful man. You might say I had crushed it. And yet inside, I felt like something was missing, some greater meaning and fulfillment and purpose in my life. And I had this epiphany of, wow, I've followed this formula for success, assuming that it would lead to happiness. And I've climbed to the top of this ladder only to realize, crap, I think this is the wrong ladder. And that led to a bit of a breakdown / spiritual awakening. I got really into mindfulness and meditation. I also started studying the neuroscience behind behavior change, trained in something called neurolinguistic programming, got really fascinated with ways to rewire my brain to change my response to stress. I also, after reading the book Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss, I got really into past lives and reincarnation. So I trained in hypnosis and past life regression healing. Basically, it was like my overachiever just went nuts in the personal development space for many years.
Right.
Yeah. And then I realized what I wanted to do was bring all of these tools that I'd learned to other people, particularly to women in the business world and other leaders in the business world, because this stuff blew my mind, a lot of these alternative healing modalities. And I had thought of myself as a sort of worldly educated person, and I hadn't heard of any of these tools. So I quit my job in finance, and for the last 10 years have been dedicating my life to bringing a lot of these tools and resources to other people.
Amazing. So out of all the tools and resources that you've used, which one has yielded the most positive results?
Oh man, for me or for my clients or
For
both,
you,
I
for you,
suppose.
along
For
your personal growth
me,
journey.
that's a big question. um, I would have to say, and this is a lot of what my book, The Soul Solution, is about, but really it's the fundamental thing for me has been learning to trust myself and my inner knowing. And in terms of, there's a lot of doors to do that or tools to do that, but what I would say is learning to differentiate between the loud insistent voice of the ego and the quiet small whisper of the soul has been the number one most game changing thing for me. And really the tool is almost trusting that voice, taking action on it, and noticing the goodness and the magic it brings in my life. And then that sort of validates and expands and amplifies my ability to do that more and more. So I
Amazing.
would probably say that trusting my true self. Yeah.
I like that,
That
trusting
wasn't
with
really a
yourself.
tool though. That was more of an outcome.
Well, there's a follow-up question, I guess. So what was the tool that allowed you to make that inner voice louder? Like, what are some
Yeah.
exercises that anyone can do to
There you
be
go.
more attentive to their intuition?
Yes, I love that question because I'm really all about giving people practical things rather than just, talking in platitudes. So for me, one of my initial epiphanies, what I talk about in the book, The Soul Solution, is going out into nature is one of the best ways we can connect with our souls. And even paying attention to, for you, there's probably certain places in nature that help you more easily connect with your soul than other places in nature. So some people really love being by the ocean. For me, being by redwood trees as a specific type of tree, I feel more connected. Certain hikes do that for me more than other hikes. But I remember walking on the beach in Crissy Field when I was going through my own transition, not wanting to stay in my job in finance, but not knowing what I wanted to do next. And I was just noodling on these deeper questions. And this answer kind of came through me, or this epiphany, which was, oh my gosh, my whole life, I've been following my ego, my mind, and my wallet, and not my heart or my intuition. And maybe that's why I'm so unfulfilled. And that was a moment of touching into this deeper wisdom inside of myself. And what happened, the way I accessed it was to just go out in nature with some bigger questions and sort of pose them to nature itself. So that was one way. Meditation retreats was another way that I started to hear these whispers from my soul more clearly. So I would say nature and quieting your mind.
Nature and quieting your mind. I love that. For me, it's a good sunset. I get anxious if I'm not outside between 6 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. I get hyper anxious. Like I'm missing the sunset, and I get super anxious. And then meditation for me, I've been meditating daily for 7 years, and I started doing TM in 2019, and that has vertically scaled so many areas in my life. The results speak for themselves. But tell me more about your meditation practice, how it's evolved over time, and what are some of the benefits that you get from daily meditation.
Yeah, well, when I first tried meditation, I did a day long at Spirit Rock, which is a wonderful meditation center in Marin in Northern California. And I did a day long just for women. It was from, like 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I had tried meditating on my own, but it never really stuck. And so this day long meditating off and on in 20-minute increments for hours and hours. And late in the day, around probably 2 p.m., I did this thing that I think a lot of beginner meditators do, which is I kind of peeked my eyes open to look around the room, having this moment of like, are all these people really still meditating? This has been a lot of hours. And in that moment, the teacher, there was 3 women teachers, and it was all women in the room. One of the women had this gorgeous, like gray hair with a silver streak in it. I just still remember her so vividly, and I could feel this palpable energy in the room. She was emanating this strength and this calmness and this wisdom. And I got goosebumps just feeling into the energy in the room. And I had this other thought that came through me, which was, oh my gosh, I've been chasing the wrong kind of power my entire life. I've been chasing this very like masculine, toxic, power over corporate kind of traditional power. And the power that I really want is in this room right now. It's in that teacher up on the dais with the silver streak in her hair, and it's in every single woman, and it's inside of me. And that's the power that I want to access. So that was a little glimpse just from my first day long meditation retreat. And yeah, and then since then, my overachiever classic was like, let me go on 5-day and 10-day silent retreats, and just meditate from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. But that really did help me get a daily practice going. And now, 10 years later, I mean, I communicate with light beings and light
Right.
councils. I do all kinds of crazy stuff
Right.
when I meditate.
So, what are some tangible results that you've seen in your life from daily meditation?
Great question. I would say it's helped with mental spinning. So I used to get really angry, actually. I think some women have trouble getting angry as an emotion. That's never been an issue for me. I can go to anger real quick. And since I've started meditating, I don't get as angry. Like things in life just don't bother me as much, or when they do, I'm able to observe my own thoughts more quickly. It's just that practice of coming back when your mind has wandered. It gives you this ability in life to notice when you've gone off the rails. One of the stories I tell in my book, I was dropping my son off at preschool drop off one morning, And I was, like unshowered, dirty hair, in this puffy vest that someone gifted me that I've never liked, with like a big stain on the chest. And in the parking lot, there was this other mom who's like really cool, and I've wanted to be friends with her. And these two moms were talking, and they looked like all done up. The sun was like shining on their mascara. I just remember they looked really pretty, and they were having this two-person conversation. And I said hi, and I stood kind of awkwardly outside of their two-person group waiting for them to include me, and they never really did. And anyway, I got back in my car and I was driving home, and I just started berating myself like, you have no cute clothes and you don't even make an effort, and that you have no friends since you moved to the East Bay. And I caught myself in the middle of this major inner critic spiral, was like, wait a minute, let me presence myself. And I just started noticing like the light and shadow through the leaves of the trees around me. And, you know, came back to the present moment using my mindfulness tools. And it was awesome. And then like 2 blocks later, the voice crept back in and was like, you should really get some cute new yoga clothes. There's that one brand, like maybe. And this time it was more of a concerned friend. It wasn't as overtly beating me up. It was that sneaky inner critic, like acting like just a someone trying to help me out. But I realized again, I caught it and like shifted out of it. And I think for me, mindfulness and meditation is what's helped me notice when I get in those kinds of spirals. And I still get off track, but I notice it sooner. I come back and I pull myself back in, with more ease, which is nice.
Absolutely. Acknowledging your thought patterns when they happen. We like our ego creeps in, and whether it's telling us things based on fear or protection, we tend to identify with those thoughts that we're not good enough, kind of just like exactly what you went through. But acknowledging those thoughts and exercising our free will to talk to those thoughts and not become those thoughts, super important. And meditation obviously is the foundation for consciousness and spirituality. And we can't step into the greatest version of ourselves every single day if we can't sit still in silence and solitude. And there's a lot to be learned in those times. And I tell everyone all the time. I was just on a podcast with a Reiki healer right before you, and we were talking about meditation. And the results are not linear; they compound. They're cumulative over time. So daily meditation practice doesn't just help you for that day; it's going to help you for days and weeks and months and years to come. So I really, really admire your story, and I think that's great. So as a the soul solution, right? Tell us more about your book. Tell us more about what readers are going to learn from your book and how they're going to be able to implement that into their life.
Okay. Well, so when I quit my job in finance to pursue this more meaningful life, I felt like there wasn't exactly a roadmap out there that showed me how to do that. And so this book, it's The Soul Solution, and it's a guide for brilliant, overwhelmed women to quiet the noise, find their superpower, and finally feel satisfied. And I really feel like what it is I've distilled pretty much all of my favorite tools and resources from the last 10 years and put them into this book. And it's a roadmap fundamentally to come back home to yourself. And, I joke like the book is full of answers, but really it's the reader who's full of answers. And the book is just giving them a roadmap to access the answers that are already there. And I found as a woman, an ambitious woman living in a patriarchy, I've really struggled to reconcile like how can I have big bold dreams and ambitions but pursue them in a way that feels really authentic and sustainable and joyful and easeful. We have a lot of myths in our culture that I think everyone struggles from around what it means to be successful, where it's like busy is a badge of honor, no pain, no gain, all of those kinds of things. And then if you're born in a female body or identify as female, there's a whole other layer of expectations of people pleasing and kind of sacrificing your needs for those of others. And so I'm just really on a mission to help people unwind those and peel back all those layers so that we can reclaim our authentic power and have the impact we want to have in the world. So
Right.
that's what the book
Okay. So
does.
it's a guidebook, right? So let me ask you this, or not? No, it's not a guidebook. You said it's a what did you?
I said it's a
Okay,
guide.
it's a
Yeah, you
guide.
can
Okay.
call it a
So
guidebook. I said a roadmap,
roadmap.
those
Perfect.
are all
Okay.
good.
So along this roadmap, what's the most
Hmm.
important step?
Whew. Oh my gosh, that's a good question. You see my face like, oh. Um, the outcome is trusting yourself. And I think the most important step is probably the first one, which is awareness, coming into awareness that something is not in alignment for you in your life. Things are not okay. You are not okay. And trusting the that you are out of alignment, and that trusting the awareness, and then doing something about it by, for example, reading a book like this one. That's because if people don't take that first step, they're not going to get
Awareness.
anywhere on the
So
journey.
what's something, obviously you're a very conscious and aware individual. What's something that you think you're aware of that you might not be as aware of?
Something that I think I'm aware of that I'm not as
Where are
aware
you
of.
lacking awareness in your
Okay.
life?
Yeah. This is good. This is good. I like these kinds of questions. Right now, the thing that's kind of my learning edge, I've known that I criticize my husband, but um something that was reflected to me recently that was hard to hear is my spiritual teacher was like, you keep your husband's consciousness in a box. You basically, like, you think you're so evolved and da da da, and you are, but by thinking that, you're actually, he's loyal to you. And when you have these thoughts of him not being as evolved as you, you're literally keeping his consciousness in a
Aww.
box. And I was like, oh damn. That's, but I've really been just, what's been hard for me lately is acknowledging the ways that I project patriarchy onto my husband, and also like women's rage, and how we take that out on our partners with, obviously, yes, micromanaging them, controlling them, but a lot of like passive aggressive eye
Yeah,
rolling and obnoxious behaviors that I see in myself and especially other moms in my community. It's gnarly.
right.
So I would say that's where I'm not always walking my talk.
Interesting. I like that answer. Okay. I'm going to share mine. So
Yes, please do.
what I have, the question is, what am I lacking awareness in? Which is hard to like think about. Okay, but the question is, what am I
No.
lacking awareness in? Something that I don't do well of, that I think I lack awareness in, is the time value of all the inputs that I'm executing on every day, and when they start to bear fruit. So I meditate every day. I'm up at 5 a.m. I run Ironman triathlons. I run a pretty good life coaching business. I'm putting out a ton of content and media. Just finished writing my first book. I thank you. I just developed an app. I got so many things going on in my business. I train 20 hours a week for Ironman. My diet's dialed in. I spend time with my family. I do all the right things, right? I read 40 books a year. I do all the right things. And it's tough for me because there are so many highs and lows. Like some days I'm getting clients, and then like a full week or 2 weeks go by, I don't get a client, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And then, I get 2 clients in one day, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm killing it. And then the next week goes, and I'm like, why hasn't anyone hit me up? And like on a macro, when I zoom out on my life from where I was 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, and where I am now, it is night and day. If I were to rewind the clock back to 21 years old or 20, and I'm 31 now, 21 years old or 25, and I said, Zach, you would have, a paid off house. You would have X amount of dollars in stocks. You would have X amount, you'd be making X amount of money. You got your dream car. I would be like, oh my gosh, I am crushing it. Like you, I am crushing it. But there's days that I feel inadequate. There's days that imposter syndrome takes over my entire body. So I think one thing that I lack awareness in is like the time, time. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah, and just trusting that everything you're doing is going to come to fruition. Yes. I get that. And I've struggled with that as well. Just also trusting that it's how I feel that matters anyway, not any of these outputs that I think I need to be happy, right? So it's like, am I enjoying myself as I build this
Right.
business? Because that's what really
Right.
matters in the
So
end. But I forget that
yeah,
all the time.
exactly. Okay, so I'm glad I got to share that and get that off my chest. So for you, writing the book, coming out October 4th, The Soul Solution, working with high achieving, high performance clients, women in your business, amazing family. You seem extremely happy, very transparent and vulnerable, authentic and genuine, which people admire. But what are some of your short term goals that you are sprinting towards right now? Do you feel comfortable sharing that?
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. It's interesting because part of the soul solution is not believing that I need to sprint in the old way, and trusting in the unfolding of my path. So I'm actually intentionally, I only sprint when it feels really good and authentic and
I
aligned to
love that.
sprint, and I
I
don't
love
make
that.
myself sprint anymore. That's part of the soul solution. So I'm actually not sprinting as much right
Good.
now.
Just
I'm
going with
aligned.
the flow.
Yeah, which is part of the soul solution.
Right. Part of the social is just going with the flow.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I visualize my goals a lot and I try to maintain a high vibration and it's crazy. Things come to me with such ease when I do that. And I don't have to network my face off and I don't have to do all this outbound stuff. It is really, I think, about coming into vibrational alignment and allowing yourself to receive all the good things that you've already put in your vortex of, through law of attraction of things that you want to manifest. So I'm
Amazing.
trying to really live that.
I love that. So I want to know more about the soul solution. I want you to tell us everything without giving it all away. But what
Mhm.
is a daily practice from the soul solution that we can all execute on, men or women?
Oh, these are really good questions you're asking. I'm loving these. A daily practice. And I mean, I feel like meditate and journal is something that, pretty much everyone says. So I would say, um, okay, here's one. I talk in the book about a concept called following what I have made up and call your energetic breadcrumbs. So, your energetic breadcrumbs are those moments when you feel like a little zing inside of yourself, a zing of aliveness or curiosity or interest. There are these impulses that might arrive in you to go do something or read a book or call somebody, or you have a conversation and you don't know why, but it really energizes you. So I think following your energetic breadcrumbs on a daily basis is a very simple, practical thing you can do to access the soul solution.
Following your energetic breadcrumbs. I've never heard of that. So I love that. I'm going to start listening to my energetic breadcrumbs. Interesting.
Yeah, and
Okay.
sometimes something will naturally cross your path that will energize you so you'll know what to follow, but other times I also recommend people just set aside 10 or 15 minutes to follow their impulses and have nothing planned for that 10 or 15 minutes. So you might go make yourself a cup of tea, and then as you're making the tea, a random book crosses your mind and you decide I'm going to sit down and read that book, and then you're reading it and you get a new idea for something. And so if you have time to just follow your impulses, that's another way you can kind of generate the breadcrumbs. But sometimes you also have a serendipitous encounter or you come across something and it really piques your curiosity, and that's also an energetic breadcrumb.
Love it. Energetic breadcrumbs without giving the whole book away. Vanessa, it was amazing talking to you today. I can't wait to read. Actually, I'm probably going to get a copy for my mom on October 4th, The Soul Solution. You can get over it on Amazon.com. To all the people that were listening on Apple, Spotify, and Audible, you could reach out to Vanessa, learn more about Vanessa, connect with Vanessa at vanessaloder.com. That's VANESSALODER.com. Vanessa, is there anything you want to drop for the audience before we wrap up today?
No, I mean, I have a lot of free resources if you go to my website /book, BOOK. So there's all the guided meditations and the values tool, a bunch of the things from the book you can access for free there. So definitely check that out. And I just want to appreciate you, Zach. You seem super high energy and authentic. And gosh, you're doing a lot. You really do have a lot of cylinders firing, and your rocket ship is like taking off. So I hope you know that. I mean, it sounds like on a lot of days you can trust that, but I really appreciate your energy. You have really great energy. Thanks for having me on. It's
I
been an
appreciate
honor.
it. Thank you so much. I think I give all the energy from gratitude. I really feel grateful for my legs and my breath. I feel it.
Hmm.
Like I feel it. You know what I'm saying? But thank you so much. I appreciate your kind words. That means a lot. And I'm on your website now. I see you got a 15-day meditation challenge, 30-day meditation challenge, the secret to sustainable success and values assessment tool. So everyone head over to vanessaloder.com. Again, that's VANESSALODER.com. Vanessa, enjoy the rest of your day. Congratulations on the Soul Solution coming October 4th. And I wish you all the health, wealth, success, and happiness for you, all your friends, and your family.
Thank you. Right back at you.
Thanks. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for being a loyal listener of the podcast. If you haven't already gotten my first book, Live Better Now, it's officially out on Amazon.com. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone that's already purchased the book, reviewed the book, or shared it with friends and family. It really, really means a lot to me. Thank you guys so much. Go ahead and visit Amazon.com and purchase Live Better Now.